Good morning. Welcome to another session on environmental impact assessment.
So we shall continue with Unit 2 methodologies. Course outcome elucidate the methods of EIA with case studies. Learning outcome discuss the methods used in EIA. Specific outcomes explanation of the cost benefit method of EIA. This is the last method in this Unit 2. Cost benefit analysis provides the nature of expenses and benefits accrued from a project in monetary terms as a common practice in traditional feasibility studies and thus enables easy understanding and decision making. So what they are saying here is that the expenses are already in terms of money, the benefits are converted in terms of money. So when you see the expenses and benefits in terms of money, it helps you to make a decision whether to go for the project or not in terms of uh, you know in terms of economics, right? We have converted cost expenses already in terms of money, we have converted the benefits also, it may be even losses, right? The title is cost benefit analysis, but even in losses you'll have to see how much amount will be lost, right? So the amount there, it is a loss, so it's a minus, you are losing money. When it benefits, you are gaining the money. So everything will be converted in terms of economics, and it helps you to make a decision whether to go for the project or not. The role of environmental economics in EIA can be divided into three categories. One, use of economics for benefit cost analysis as an integral part of the project selection. That is, in project selection, you can apply this. Second, use of economics in the assessment of activities suggested by EIA, meaning you are assessing the various activities. Third, economic assessment of the environmental impacts of the project. So the first role, here what they are saying is you are going to do some pre-screening, right? Whether to go for the project, whether the project should be allowed to be executed or not, right? We have talked about the pre-screening stage. So this is the first role played by environmental economics, where we are doing the pre-screening stage. So there itself, this economics plays a major role, and we can decide whether to give a green signal for the project or not in terms of economics. So doing so eventually leads to a project selection process which takes the environment into consideration. The second role, it is focused on cost assessment of environmental mitigation measures and management plans suggested in the EIA. So the economic analysis in the EIA may include a summary of the project costs and how such costs would change due to activities proposed under the EIA. This component can be considered as an accounting of the environmental investment of a project. So here what they are doing is they are finding out the cost for the various activities in the uh, various activities that are involved in the project, right? It may be even mitigation measures, meaning actions taken to reduce the impact, right? So for example, you are able to reduce impacts using method X. If you use method Y, the amount will vary. So in that way, economics plays a major role here. The third role placed by environmental economics is economic assessment of the impacts of the project, right? Is geared towards seeking the economic values of both costs and benefits of the environmental impacts. So these impacts are neither mitigated nor taken into account in traditional economic analysis of projects. They should be identified by the ETA, and sufficient quantitative as well as qualitative explanation should be given in the EA documents. So here what they are saying is that an impact can be positive or negative, right? So if it is positive impact, it has to be converted as income. Negative impact is loss of money, right? So generally they don't do this. They don't take this aspect. They don't convert the impacts positive as well as negative in terms of money, and they don't do the analysis. So there's a very important part. Disadvantage: the difficulty encountered in the use of these techniques will be that impacts have to be transformed and stated in explicit monetary terms, and this is not always possible, especially for uh, intangibles like the monetary value of health-related impacts of industrial development, right? So the difficult part is it is very difficult to convert the positive and negative impacts in terms of money, right? A person's health is going to get affected, so how much loss is going to take place in terms of monetary value, right? Whether you assume that person is going to die due to the environmental impact, how much amount of money you will give, right? So that's a very tough question. To facilitate the decision-making process, therefore, assessors conducting environmental impact should not just identify the impact; they should also provide information on the implied values of the environmental losses and gains. So they should not simply just tell what are the environmental impacts. They should tell the value that is added to that particular loss or gain. The evaluation of site or sites and major design options should be taken together with the economic and technical limitations imposed by the aim of the project. The combination of the project site and project design needed to produce no significant environmental impacts should also incur the least economic cost to the community. Right. So the what they are saying is that it is not only the economical and technical aspects. You have to evaluate even the site considerations and design options. Right. Uh, this should be taken into account and has to be seen in terms of economic value. A good EA report should include a section on all environmental economic aspects. Sorry, a good EA report should include a section on all economic aspects of the project, including the results of a cost-benefit analysis of the overall project after incorporating the internal or mitigated impacts. Right. So the cost-benefit analysis part should be there after incorporating the internal or mitigated impacts. A second component of the economic analysis of the EAA, which gives an assessment of the impacts that can be quantified. Right. So the impact should be also quantified. At a minimum, the following 6 tasks need to be completed in the economic analysis of environmental impacts. First one, determine the spatial and conceptual boundaries of the analysis. Second one, identify environmental impacts and their relationship to the project. Third, quantify the impacts and organize them according to the importance. The impacts described qualitatively if they cannot be expressed in quantitative terms. Fourth, choose a technique for economic evaluation. Fifth, economic valuation of environmental impacts should be identified. And sixth, set up an appropriate time frame and perform the extended benefit cost analysis. So these are the 6 steps that are involved in this particular benefit cost method or cost benefit analysis. Thus, the evaluation of the environmental and development benefits and costs uh, is an essential aspect, right, in decision making or essential aid in decision making. The information that an assessor should provide in detailed assessment is an annotated list of economic costs and benefits to the community that arise from number one, his selection from technical and financially feasible site options and major design options. His selection from any technically and financially feasible measures to mitigate or abate significant environmental impacts predicted. And third is a total project plan. So first thing is technical and financial aspects related to site and design process of the plant. Second one is dealing with environmental impacts, positive or negative, and if possible, if you can mitigate or reduce impacts, how much cost is involved in that. Third one is a total project plan. Right. So we close the session over here, and that is the end of unit 2 also. Thank you.
Thus, we come to the end of this session. Thank you for your participation. Looking forward to meeting you in the next session.